You see, most people go through life not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they've allowed invisible chains to hold them back, chains made of their own limiting beliefs. These beliefs, they don't show up overnight. They're built quietly, piece by piece, over years of conditioning, by our environment, by our failures, by the opinions of people who gave up on their own dreams. And those beliefs begin to whisper lies to us. They tell us we're not enough, we're not ready, we're not smart enough, we're too late, too young, too poor, too broken. And slowly, those whispers become the voice that controls our decisions, our actions, and ultimately our destiny. But the truth is this: those limitations are illusions. They are walls we built in our own minds. And the most dangerous prison in the world is not made of steel and bars. It's made of fear and self-doubt. That's what stops people from taking that next step, from starting that business, from speaking up, from chasing that dream that burns in their gut. Because they've accepted someone else's version of what's possible for them. They've mistaken their current situation for their permanent identity. And until they challenge those beliefs, nothing changes. I've met people who had every reason to fail. No money, no connections, no education. But they had one thing, a belief that they could become more. And that belief became their fuel. You don't need perfect conditions to change your life. You need a decision that says, no more. No more believing the story that I can't. No more being trapped by my past. No more letting fear dictate who I become. Because the moment you challenge a limiting belief, you weaken it. The moment you say, what if I'm wrong about what I can't do? That's the moment you begin to reclaim your power. You see your beliefs shape your reality. They determine how much you'll try, how long you'll persist, and how much you'll grow. If you believe you're limited, you'll always act limited. But if you believe that you're powerful beyond measure, you'll start to live like it. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, I could never do that? I'm not that type of person. That's just not who I am. But what if that's not who you are? It's just who you've practiced being. You've rehearsed a story for so long that it's become your identity, but your identity isn't fixed. You can choose a new story. You can rewrite the script. You can decide that the person who used to be afraid, who used to hold back, who used to settle, is not the person you're going to be anymore. You have to get hungry for change. You have to get tired of being comfortable, because comfort is the enemy of growth. Comfort keeps you repeating the same patterns, running the same routines, living the same year over and over again. But transformation begins when you say enough, when you refuse to live one more day in the same emotional state that's been holding you back, when you decide to trade excuses for execution, fear for focus, hesitation for hunger. Let me tell you something powerful. Your beliefs are not facts. They're feelings that have been reinforced over time. You can change them. You can interrupt them. You can replace them. Every time you feel like you can't do something, ask yourself, who told me that? Where did that belief come from? Was it from an experience that went wrong? From a person who gave up? From a failure that I never fully healed from? Because when you find the root of a belief, you gain control over it. You can't change what you don't understand. There's a part of you that knows there's more. That voice deep inside that says, I'm made for something greater. And you've heard it. You've felt it. But you've also buried it under excuses, under fear, under the weight of what if? What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? What if I lose everything? But what if you fly? What if you succeed? What if everything you've ever wanted is waiting on the other side of courage? Because it is. You've got to make the decision to step beyond those fears. You've got to challenge yourself daily. Growth doesn't come from what's easy. It comes from what tests you, what stretches you, what forces you to confront who you've been so you can become who you're meant to be. Every breakthrough in your life will require you to face a belief that has held you back. The belief that you're not enough. It's a lie. You've survived things that should have broken you. You've overcome moments that others couldn't handle. You've gotten up after being knocked down. You are enough. You always were. You just stopped believing it. The belief that it's too late. Another lie. Time doesn't define your potential, decisions do. There are people who started at 50, 60, 70 and changed the world because they finally decided to stop waiting for permission. Stop letting time be your excuse. The clock is ticking anyway. Use it to build something meaningful. And the belief that your past defines you, that's one of the biggest lies you'll ever believe. Your past is not your prison. It's your preparation. Every failure, every setback, every painful experience was shaping something in you. It was building resilience, teaching lessons, strengthening your spirit for the next level. The question isn't whether you've failed, it's whether you've learned. When you stop identifying with your past and start identifying with your potential, everything changes. Your energy changes, your mindset changes, your results change, because you start living as if you already are the person you're becoming. That's how you rewire belief. Not by waiting for proof, but by acting like it's already true. You have to be willing to face discomfort, to push through fear. Because the only way to destroy a limiting belief is through experience, by proving it wrong. You can read every book, attend every seminar, listen to every podcast. But until you take action that contradicts the belief, it will remain. You break belief through movement, not through theory. So take the step. Speak when your voice shakes. Try even when you're unsure. Move even when it's messy. Every small action you take against fear builds a new pattern in your mind. You start teaching yourself that you're capable, that you're powerful. And once your mind believes it, your reality begins to mirror it. You have to surround yourself with people who remind you of your potential, not your limitations. People who challenge you to grow, not comfort you in your excuses. Because energy is contagious. And if you spend your time around people who think small, who complain, who live in fear, you'll absorb it. But if you surround yourself with people who dream big, who act bold, who live with passion, you'll rise to that level. Your environment either expands you or constrains you. Choose it wisely. You must also learn to master your emotional state because your beliefs are not just mental, they're emotional. Every limiting belief is attached to a feeling: fear, shame, regret, guilt. If you want to change the belief, you have to change the emotion connected to it. Move your body, shift your focus, change your energy. You can't think your way out of fear. You have to act your way out. You can't hope your way out of self-doubt. You have to move through it. Every time you catch yourself saying, I can't, stop and ask, what would happen if I tried anyway? Every time you hear that voice of fear, remind yourself, it's just the past trying to protect you from pain. But you're not who you were then. You're stronger. You're wiser. You've got more experience now. You don't need to protect yourself from failure. You need to step into it because failure is feedback and feedback is growth. Your beliefs are like the thermostat of your life. They set the temperature of what you'll tolerate. If you believe you're worth little, you'll settle for little. If you believe you're meant for more, you'll raise your standards and never go back. Because the moment your standard rises, your life follows. You'll start to reject the things that no longer align with your vision. You'll stop accepting mediocrity, stop entertaining negativity, stop waiting for motivation. The world doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what you believe you deserve. If you want more, you've got to expand your belief of what's possible. You've got to look yourself in the mirror and decide that the person staring back at you deserves the best life has to offer. Not because of luck, not because of talent, but because you've decided that your life matters enough to fight for. There's power in that decision. Because when you truly believe you can, you'll do whatever it takes. You'll find the strength, the time, the energy, the way. Belief doesn't just change your mindset, it changes your motion. It turns hesitation into hunger, fear into fuel, doubt into determination. So right now, in this moment, break those chains. Refuse to let your old beliefs dictate your new future. Tear down the walls that have kept you small. Don't wait for someone else to tell you it's possible. Decide it's possible. Decide it's already yours. Because once your belief changes, everything else follows. And that's the beginning of unleashing the power within. There's a force inside every single one of us that's been waiting for the moment when we stop holding back and start living with full intensity. That force is energy, that fire, that hunger. It's the drive that pushes you to go further when your mind says you're done. It's the thing that makes ordinary people achieve extraordinary things. And yet, most people live their lives never igniting that power. They wake up tired, go through the motions, and wonder why they feel empty inside. It's not because they don't have potential. It's because they've lost connection with the energy that fuels their potential. See, energy is everything. You can have the best strategy in the world, the best plan, the best opportunity, but if you don't have the energy to execute, you won't follow through. Success is not just about knowing what to do. It's about being in the emotional and physical state to do it consistently. Because when your energy is low, your vision shrinks, you stop dreaming big, you stop taking risks, you start settling for good enough. But when your energy is high, when you feel alive, passionate, and driven, you become unstoppable. Think about a time in your life when you were on fire. Maybe you were chasing a goal, falling in love, building something meaningful, or proving something to yourself. You had this feeling inside, this unstoppable force that made you move faster, work harder, believe deeper. That wasn't luck. That was your natural state when you're connected to purpose. That's what it feels like to live with inner drive. The problem is, as life goes on, we let that fire fade. We get comfortable, distracted, overwhelmed, tired. We start playing small, telling ourselves it's okay to just get by. But inside, we know something's missing, that spark, that intensity, that sense of being fully alive. You've got to reignite it. You've got to make the decision to wake that power up again. Because the moment you do, everything changes. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the creator of them. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. You stop waiting for energy to show up and you begin generating it. Energy doesn't come from luck or caffeine or motivation. It comes from movement, from focus, from purpose. The way you move your body, the way you speak, the way you breathe, all of it sends signals to your mind about who you are and what state you're in. When you sit slouched, breathe shallow, think small, and talk about what's wrong, your energy collapses. But when you stand tall, move with purpose, breathe deeply, speak powerfully, your energy rises. Your physiology shifts your psychology. Your body is the ignition switch to your drive. You have to learn to master your state because the truth is you're not always going to feel motivated. You're not always going to feel ready. There will be days when you're exhausted, when nothing seems to go right, when the world feels heavy, and that's when most people stop. But that's the exact moment when your real power begins, when you can generate drive in the face of resistance, when you can create energy instead of waiting for it. You do that by changing your focus. Energy flows where focus goes. If you focus on everything that's missing, everything that's wrong, everything that's hard, your energy drains instantly. But if you focus on what's possible, on what you can do, on what you're grateful for, suddenly your energy multiplies. The mind and body are connected in ways most people never realize. Your thoughts create emotions, and your emotions dictate your energy. Change your thoughts and you change your life. Let's be real, your life is a reflection of your emotional energy. Every great relationship, every business breakthrough, every personal victory happened because at some point you were in a state of passion, determination, or belief. You had energy that inspired action. And the more you learn to live in that state on command, the faster you transform your world. You've got to cultivate rituals that fuel you daily, because drive doesn't last by accident. It's built by design. When you wake up, don't just roll out of bed like the day owns you. Move your body. Breathe deeply. Set an intention. Prime your mind for success. Remind yourself who you are and what you're here for. Energy rituals are not optional. They're essential, because if you don't manage your energy, the world will manage it for you. And the world is designed to drain it. The news, the negativity, the stress, the distractions, they'll all steal your focus if you let them. You've got to take control of your internal state before the external world takes control of it for you. And here's something powerful. You've got to connect energy to purpose, because passion without direction burns out, and direction without passion feels empty. When you know why you're doing something, you can push through anyhow. Purpose gives energy meaning. It gives your drive direction. When you link your daily actions to something bigger than yourself, to growth, to contribution, to love, to service, you access a deeper level of power. You start playing life on a different level. Every single person on this planet has access to that inner drive, but few ever learn to sustain it, because they think motivation is something you wait for. Motivation is not something you wait for. It's something you create. You create it through commitment. You create it through momentum. You create it through doing what you said you do even when it's uncomfortable. Every time you follow through on a promise you made to yourself, you build self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of drive, because once you trust yourself to show up, nothing can stop you. People always ask, how do I stay motivated? You don't stay motivated, you stay disciplined. Motivation fades, discipline remains. Discipline is doing what you said you'd do long after the feeling has left. And when you live that way, you start generating a new kind of energy, an unstoppable one. Because now your drive isn't emotional, it's habitual. You don't need to feel like it, you just do it. And that consistency compounds into power. Drive also comes from progress. Nothing feeds the human spirit more than the feeling of growing, of becoming more, of making progress towards something that matters. Even small steps create massive momentum. When you start seeing yourself move forward, even an inch at a time, your energy rises. You begin to believe again. You start to see what's possible. So stop waiting for big leaps. Start by taking consistent, small steps, because small wins build unstoppable momentum. You have to protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. Don't give it to negativity. Don't waste it on complaining. Don't spend it worrying about things you can't control. Every thought you feed either fuels your fire or smothers it. Be intentional. Guard your mind. Feed it with vision, gratitude, faith, and growth. And remember this, the people you surround yourself with will either amplify your energy or drain it. If you're around people who are always tired, complaining, gossiping, making excuses, you'll start to absorb that energy. But if you surround yourself with people who push you, who challenge you, who expect more from you, your energy will rise to meet theirs. Because drive is contagious. Energy is contagious. Passion is contagious. Choose your circle wisely. Another thing, don't underestimate the power of physical vitality. You can't have sustained mental energy if your physical body is weak, neglected, or exhausted. Move every day. Eat foods that fuel your body instead of draining it. Hydrate, rest, strengthen yourself. Because when your body is strong, your mind becomes stronger. When your energy is high, your confidence soars. When you feel unstoppable physically, you start acting unstoppable mentally. But the most powerful source of inner drive comes from emotion. You've got to learn how to trigger the emotions that drive you forward. Love, gratitude, passion, hunger. Those emotions are energy generators. You can feel tired one moment, and the next moment, something clicks, something that connects you emotionally, and suddenly you're full of energy again. That's not magic, that's power. Emotional mastery is energy mastery. Learn to find what ignites your emotions, and you'll never run out of drive. You can't live a life of passion by thinking small. You can't ignite inner drive by chasing comfort. You've got to challenge yourself daily. You've got to do what scares you, what stretches you, what forces you to evolve. Because the only way to stay fully alive is to keep growing. The moment you stop growing, you start dying. So never stop pushing for more. Not because you're not enough now, but because you know there's more inside you to give. When you start to live this way, with intensity, with focus, with hunger, you'll notice that life starts responding differently to you. Opportunities show up. People are drawn to your energy. Doors that once seemed closed begin to open. It's not coincidence, it's alignment, because the universe responds to energy, not excuses. The stronger your energy, the stronger your results. This is what it means to ignite your inner drive. It's not about hype. It's not about pretending to be positive. It's about living in a state of purpose-driven power. It's about becoming so aligned with your vision, so full of passion, so charged with energy that your presence alone inspires others. Because people can feel it when you're alive. They can feel your conviction. They can feel your certainty. And when you live from that place, you don't just change your life, you elevate everyone around you. So today, make the decision to reconnect with that power inside you, to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start generating your own momentum. Move your body, shift your focus, speak your vision, and live with fire. Don't let another day go by half awake, half alive, half committed. Step fully into your life, because when you ignite your inner drive and energy, you unleash a force that no obstacle can contain, no failure can define, and no fear can extinguish. That's when you truly unleash the power within. Transformation is not a moment. It's not something that happens because you read a book, attend a seminar, or watch a motivational video. True transformation begins when you take massive, consistent action. You can have the most powerful vision in the world, the deepest hunger, and the strongest belief. If you don't translate that into daily action, it dies in your mind. Dreams without action are just fantasies. Belief without execution is just potential left to waste. And the truth is, the distance between who you are and who you want to be is measured by the actions you take every single day. Most people wait for the perfect moment before they move. They wait until they're ready, until they have enough time, until they have more money, until they feel confident. But that perfect moment never comes because perfection is an illusion. Waiting for everything to align is just another form of fear disguised as logic. You grow into readiness, you don't wait for it. You act your way into confidence. You move your way into momentum. You build your transformation step by step, decision by decision, moment by moment. The people who change their lives are not the ones who have fewer obstacles. They're the ones who refuse to be defined by them. They don't talk about what they're going to do someday. They start today. They understand that transformation doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It happens when you're stretched, challenged, tested. It happens when you do what you've never done before. You can't build new results with old habits. You can't create a new identity with the same level of thinking that created your limitations. To transform, you must do something radical. You must interrupt the patterns that have kept you stuck. Taking massive action means you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop saying, I'll start tomorrow. You stop rationalizing your fears. You stop letting emotions dictate your decisions, because emotions are temporary, but the cost of inaction is permanent. Every time you hesitate, you strengthen your doubt. Every time you move even a little, you strengthen your confidence. Momentum is built through movement. Once you move, energy follows. Once energy follows, belief grows. Once belief grows, your life begins to shift. Massive action doesn't mean perfection. It means progress. It means you're willing to make mistakes, to fall, to fail, and to learn. Because failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every step you take teaches you something new about yourself. Every mistake reveals another layer of strength. Every setback prepares you for a comeback. The difference between those who transform and those who don't isn't that one group never fails. It's that one group never quits. Transformation is built on the foundation of relentless persistence. There will be days when you don't feel like doing it, days when it feels like nothing is working, days when you question if it's even worth it. But those are the days that define you, because transformation isn't created in moments of excitement. It's forged in moments of resistance. It's easy to stay committed when things are going well. It's when everything is falling apart that your true strength is revealed. Massive action requires clarity. You need to know what you're chasing and why. If your why is weak, your excuses will win. But when your why is strong enough, you'll push through pain, fear, and fatigue. You'll stop asking, can I do this? And start saying, I must do this. Purpose turns effort into obsession. It makes you unstoppable. And you can't just take action once. You've got to live it daily. Consistency is the bridge between intention and transformation. Doing something once changes your day. Doing it every day changes your identity. It's not about one big move. It's about the small, powerful decisions that stack up over time. It's about waking up every morning and saying, I will not go back. I will not live another day beneath my potential. There's power in momentum. The first steps are the hardest because you're fighting inertia, years of habits, fears, and patterns trying to pull you back. But once you push through, once you start creating movement, things begin to change. Opportunities appear, you start to attract people, resources, and ideas aligned with your new direction. It's almost like the universe starts to cooperate with your commitment. Because it does. Life doesn't respond to wishful thinking, it responds to bold, decisive movement. Action creates clarity. People say they're confused, unsure of what to do next. But confusion is often the result of inactivity. You can't think your way into clarity, you act your way into it. Every step you take gives you feedback. You learn what works and what doesn't. You adjust. You adapt, you evolve. That's how transformation happens. You don't need all the answers before you start. You need courage to begin. The path becomes clear as you move. And yes, there will be pain. There will be discomfort. But transformation is supposed to be uncomfortable. Growth hurts. Change stretches you. It demands that you let go of who you were so you can step into who you're meant to be. Most people want transformation without transition. They want change without challenge. But there's no shortcut. You can't step into a new life holding on to the old one. You've got to release. You've got to surrender. You've got to trust that something greater is waiting on the other side of your effort. You also have to change your environment. You can't transform your life while surrounding yourself with people and places that remind you of who you used to be. You need to build an ecosystem that supports your next level, people who inspire you, challenge you, and hold you accountable. Environments that energize you instead of draining you. Information that uplifts your vision instead of reinforcing your fears. Because no matter how strong you are, your environment will always win over time. Make sure yours is designed to pull you forward, not pull you back. And transformation doesn't happen in isolation. As you begin to grow, as you take massive action, as you break old cycles, something powerful happens. You start to influence others. Your energy becomes contagious. You become a mirror that reflects possibility. People see your courage and begin to question their own limitations. Your transformation becomes a spark that ignites transformation in others. That's the beauty of taking massive action. It doesn't just change your life, it changes the world around you. Massive action also requires ownership. You've got to take full responsibility for where you are and where you're going. No blaming circumstances, no pointing fingers, no waiting for someone else to fix it. The moment you take ownership, you take your power back. You stop saying, I can't because, and start saying, I will until. That shift in language changes everything. Because responsibility gives you control, and control gives you power. Transformation is a process of becoming. It's about shedding old stories, destroying old identities, and creating new ones. It's about moving from I can't to I will, from someday to now. You don't become powerful by talking about change. You become powerful by living it, by acting even when you're scared, by showing up even when no one's watching, by refusing to settle no matter how tempting it might be to take the easy road. There's a version of you waiting to be revealed, but that version can only appear when you take the actions that align with it. Every time you step up, you get closer to that version. Every time you take the hard road instead of the easy one, you evolve. Every time you push through resistance, you become stronger, and one day you'll look back and realize you're no longer the same person. You've become someone new. That's transformation, not just a change in results, but a change in identity. To create lasting transformation, you must make action a lifestyle, not something you do when you feel inspired, but something that defines you. You must live in a state of motion, always learning, always growing, always becoming, because life rewards movement. When you move, you create energy. When you create energy, you attract opportunities. When you act boldly, life meets you halfway. Don't let fear of failure hold you back. Fear is natural. It's a sign you're expanding. If you're not scared, you're not growing. The goal isn't to eliminate fear. It's to act in spite of it. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's mastery over it. Every time you face what you fear, fear loses power over you. And the more you face it, the freer you become. Massive action is about intensity, yes, but it's also about alignment. You can hustle endlessly doing the wrong things. Real transformation comes when your actions align with your values and vision. When you're not just busy, you're intentional. When you stop chasing everything and start focusing on what truly matters. That's when your energy compounds. That's when your results multiply. And you must be patient. Transformation takes time. Seeds don't sprout the day they're planted. You can't demand fruit from roots you just watered. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work. Keep believing in the process even when you can't yet see the outcome. Because the breakthrough always comes after the struggle. Most people quit right before the turning point. Don't let that be you. Stay in the fight long enough to see the results of your labor. And as you grow, give back. Share what you've learned. Help others on their journey. Because contribution solidifies transformation. When you help someone else break through, you reinforce your own growth. You remind yourself of how far you've come. Transformation is not just about personal gain, it's about collective uplift. When you rise, bring others with you. Remember, transformation doesn't require perfection, it requires commitment, it requires passion. It requires a decision that says, I'm done living below my potential. Once you make that decision and back it with relentless action, life begins to shift. You start to experience momentum, purpose, passion, and power like never before. So stop overthinking, stop waiting, stop wishing, start moving, start becoming. Transformation doesn't happen someday. It happens the moment you decide to act. The moment you stop talking about change and start being the change. That's when everything begins to align. That's when your beliefs, your energy, and your actions merge into one unstoppable force. And that's when you finally unleash the power within.